I think everyone has joined us. I would like to welcome Nikola Vasiljevic, the head of insights at Madhead Games.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here third year in a row. I see some familiar faces in the crowd. Glad to see you, see some new faces, so I hope today's presentation is going to be interesting for all of you. A little bit about me. I work in a studio called Madhead Games. We make AA and hopefully in the future AAA games for PC and consoles, premium games. I have 13 years of experience in market research, consumer research, and data analytics, basically all insights. I don't consider myself to be the best analyst or the best data scientist or researcher, but I think I'm fairly good at analyzing what values business need and how to use data to do that. So this is my attempt at doing so at something a little bit more different at strategical level. So this year I've been working on something a bit more strategic, on harnessing the data to help strategic business makers optimize and build profitable portfolios. So you're a gaming studio or a gaming individual and you make one good game. Make some good sales, earn something, and then you say, okay, well, let's make another game. You make another good game. And that's good. You achieve some more success, and then, as in all life, for good work, you get rewarded by more work. So you have to make another game, and sooner than later, you're not just a game developer, you're also a businessman. So you have to actually not just be creative, but you also have to be a businessman and run a portfolio. And portfolios, what they love optimization, because it's not the same if you're gonna earn 1 million and go to vacation to Halkidiki, or you're gonna earn 2 million and go to Tahiti or something like that. So I try to help our business decision makers strategically define their portfolio. So we are going to be talking about strategical analysis of gaming market. That's the start of it. Then how to use all the data to choose games for your portfolio, how to choose genres, and how that will lead to hopefully optimized profitability on long term. And basically gaming studios are businesses as anyone. And if you want to stay in the market for a long time, you need to think strategically. So you have to plan ahead, you have to prepare, and you don't get to think just about being creative and being there for tomorrow. This is the manner all big businesses do it. They think way ahead. So strategic business analysis is basically the foundation of any strategic approach, and it helps understand market dynamics and actually get familiar with the consumers and what they want and like. And every strategic analysis starts with something that's not very actionable, but it's important. That's macroeconomic trends. So you got to understand the purchase power, you got to understand the inflation, you got to understand the GDPs, the unemployment rate, the regionality of every market you're in, because it affects your industry as well. If you're lucky, you can actually get something actionable out of this. You may discover some regions which are going at a higher rate, and actually this has been seen in the market in previous years where developed countries are actually declining, where some developing countries are showing double-digit economical growth rate, and this impacts our industry as well. Then you go a little bit deeper. You go into the gaming industry trends. So you have to learn about market sizing, about the sizing and dynamics of genres. Is something growing or declining? You gotta assess your genre potential. This is what we are going to be talking about. You gotta know revenue sources. You gotta know channel trends, platform trends. You gotta know the impacts of IPs, remakes in our industry, multiplayer versus single player. Basically, there are a lot of factors that factor into a success of a game. And lastly, but probably the most important, you gotta know your consumer. And consumers, they have their own gaming preferences, they have different playtime. Newer generations engage with games differently than previous generations. They have preferred communication channels and communicate in different ways. But they also have something that drives them, that attracts them to different genres. And these are what we call the main genre drivers. So, when you're doing strategic portfolio analysis, some questions come up. And basically, you got to ask some business questions. Although you're a data analyst, you got to be acquainted with the business. And these are the questions about the market demand for a certain genre. Then for product fit, does it fit with your core competencies? Then there is the monetization potential. There is the product life cycle. What's the competition? And you can throw in 15, 20 more questions in here. But basically, what you as data analysts have to do is to answer these with data, of course, with facts. And the question in here is how to actually choose genres for portfolio. In the MPD classification, there is, I think, 10 or 12 big genres. So you have your actions, you have your adventures, RPGs, puzzles, and then in the subcategorization, you actually have 60 subgenres. So you have your first-person shooters, third-person shooters, mechanized shooters, tactical shooters, MMORPG, action RPG, whatnots. And different combinations will lead to different profitability, to different financial outcomes. So some companies may choose to diversify, to have games in many genres. And of course, they will choose different genres. This will lead to different impacts. Some may choose to have one focal genre, maybe something they're very good with, and then choose to diversify. Some may choose to specialize, in just one genre regarding their core competencies. And again, all of these combinations will lead to different financial impacts. And it's really important whether you have $3 signs here or 4 or 1. This is very important for the long-term success of a company. So how to assess genre's potential? Well, you gotta ask some questions. What is important when you're assessing potential? Well, of course, genre size, very important. Genre growth rate, recent and middle-term growth rate. Is it growing? Is it not growing? So what's the impact of franchises in the genre, of multiplayer games, of single-player games, of IPs? What's the quality of the games in the genre? What's the marketing impact here? I said brand awareness for titles. A lot of questions, right? So you can use your insight skills to answer all of these and basically give them to your stakeholders, high-level executives, and they will, of course, use that to make a decision. Or probably not, because this is kind of not very intuitive, right? You cannot just throw a lot of different things at decision makers who have limited time, limited attention span, and their time is expensive. So you got to try to make it a little bit easier, a little bit more intuitive to them. At least that's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? So I try to come up with something a little bit more intuitive, and let's say, invented and copyrighted something I called the ASI, the segment attractiveness index, which basically combines financial data, combines marketing data, combines competition data, combines quality data for games into one single score for each genre. And what I wanted to achieve with this is to make it easy to compare and rank genres, intuitively by using the system one. So you don't have to analyze all of these when you're looking at as a decision maker, but just to take a look at one single metric. And that's a little bit more user-friendly, or as I call it, decision maker friendly, than just throwing 15, 20 different indicators at strategic decision makers. They're not going to take a look at them. They're really not. So, where to start? Well, of course, as with all things data, you have to make your own database. So, what we did here is started from some game sales providers. So you gotta have game sales for different games from different genres with information about genre, about platform, about region, about channels. And is this enough? Well, no. This is where you get what happens, the sales, the revenue, but not the whys. You don't know basically why some game sold more than the other. So we scraped some data. There was excellent presentation about data scraping just 1 hour ago. So we scraped some data about the quality of games, because quality is something that, of course, affects sales. Intuitively. So we are lucky that we have something called Metascore. So we scraped Metascore data and user scores and inserted it into our database. Sounds a bit tedious, yeah. It is. is that all? So now we have game sales, we have quality, so we have everything? Kind of not, because some other things also affect game sales. One of them is marketing and marketing budgets. The thing with marketing budgets is that you cannot really knock to anyone's door and ask, hey, yeah, how much money did you, invest into marketing for this? Nobody's going to tell you that, But what you can do is measure the effects, and we try to measure the effects through measuring reach and engagement through YouTube videos as proxies. So we scrape YouTube views, we scrape YouTube likes and comments, and we can do this for many games, and basically we have something we can work on, something that we can have for many games. It's a solid proxy. Was that all? Well, again, not much. So we felt that there is something else there, especially in the entertainment industry. IPs play a great role. So we try to put that data into our database as well. So we did some data labeling, and for, let's say, 1,000 games, which cover 95% of total market sales, we manually added data, whether each game belongs to a franchise, whether is it an IP, is it a remake, and try to build our model on that. And then we did some data preparation and aggregated all data at subgenre level. We have 60 subgenres to remind you. So then we get something like this. So we prepare our data. I cannot show you the real numbers, but basically in rows you have genres, in columns you have all of these indicators I've been talking about. So we have genre size, then we have genre growth rate measured through compound annual growth rate. We have the quality indicators measured through average Metacritic for the whole genre and for the top 10 games. Then we have the NSR, this is net sales revenue, average net sales revenue per year, per unit for the whole genre. Then we're measuring some competition effect through share of annual releases in genre. Some genres may seem big, but basically a lot of money, goes to annual releases. Like, in shooters, a lot of user money is going to go to Call of Duty, inevitably. So we measure that. We measure the concentration of top 10 games through HHI index. We measure the number of titles in each genre, and we measure the percent of IPs and franchises. And of course, you get the real numbers, then you normalize the table, and using the adjusted maximums, not regular maximums, because there are a lot of outliers here, especially with the genre growth rate, because very, very small genres can grow like 1,000% year on year, which is really not relevant. And then how do we calculate the index? So this is the table, the normalized table, and each of these factors has its own weight, feature importance, and we use that basically to calculate the end product, which is the segment attractiveness index. So take a look at the table on the right. It's like a big unintuitive sheet, and this kind of looks a little bit easier to take a look at if you're a CEO or CFO or something like that. So this or this is probably a little bit better. Yeah, what did this help us with? So easy to rank genres, easy to compare them, but you have the data behind to explain what's behind each and every of these rankings. And this actually helped us, especially understand this middle part here, the subtle differences and what makes some genre appealing or not. And even some genres who have similar indexes, if you know the data behind, you actually know what are the circumstances in each genre and what leads to success. So we have this, and is this enough? Yeah, it's probably not enough. So when presenting to decision makers, it's probably best to talk their language, and that's, of course, the money talk. So we try to enrich this data with some other things, but yeah, first this slide. When you have those ASIs for genres, for your first starting point is to compare the relative market shares with your relative market shares in those segments with with the ASI. And if you're lucky, this is hypothetical data, if you're lucky, you may be able to identify some genres with high score where you're not present in. And if you're really, really lucky, you will also have the core competencies to actually make games in those genres. So this is, of course, not the end. Here you just get your list of potential candidates, but of course you need to dig a little bit deeper. But in order to talk to your stakeholders, high-level stakeholders, you gotta sugarcoat this a little bit, sweeten it up, and that's of course the financial impact of this. Indexes, they're fancy, especially for us data analysts, but basically high-level stakeholders talk the language of money. So I tried to combine that. I'm not going to go into very much details here, but basically all of the indicators you've seen before, you can use them to make your forecast for each genre, and we are doing it for each five-point step of the Metascore scale. Basically meaning, if we make a game which is rated 70 at the Metascore scale, we're gonna earn this much money. If we make a game at 80, we'll earn this much money, etc., etc. And then you can make a little toy for them, calculator where they can input Metascores, genre growth rates, pricings, target reach, something I call the launch calendar K-factor. Basically, it's very important when you're launching your game, and if you're launching your game, for example, when World of Warcraft is launching as well, so that's not very good. And basically, there you have it. Now you have something to compare the genres and something to assess the financial potential of the genre. So you have your cool list, but you, again, need to present it. So how do we present this? We make something called genre IDs, where we try to, as briefly and as informatively possible, combine all of the relevant information within for genres. So one is the ASI with what it's actually composed of. The other one is feature importance. Basically, we call these success contributors to each genre. So what contributes the most? Some genres are very sensitive to Metacritic, to the quality of games. Some genres are very sensitive to marketing, but some are not. And each genre differs. Then there are, of course, consumer trends. This is adding, let's say, a little bit of meat and qualitative data about the consumer to all the numbers. This again, of course, all hypothetical, how it can look like. And then there is the main genre drivers, which you can easily get doing sentiment and topic analysis of the scraped data. And basically learn what attracts players to those genres to basically see if you can actually deliver on those drivers. And then, of course, the sales. Forecast the potential revenue you can earn, and there you have it. You have your own one-pager for stakeholders. What would be the next steps? Of course, it's always good to write some recommendation for them, some insightful and short thing. This is not short, should be shorter. But basically, always give your own recommendation on why is it or it is not good to invest into some genre. What would be the next steps? Well, when you have your list of potential genres, the job is not done yet. Then you really need to go deep into your data mine, and then analyze the sales of the genre per platform, per channel, per territory. Combine it with the common success factors for breakout games in the genre, which may be different than what were those factors 5 years ago. Then you do your marketing analysis, basically feasibility analysis of marketing, feasibility analysis for actually particular genre, meaning to see if you can actually make those games, what it takes to make them. Then when you assess, okay, yeah, we can make games in these genres, you pick those genres, and you define basically strategic initiatives, because if you cannot define strategic initiatives, all this analysis is gone to waste. And then when you finish everything, if you're lucky enough and can choose many genres, basically you need to do one last feasibility analysis to see if you can actually manage it all. Maybe you cannot make games in 3 genres, maybe you can do it for only 2. And what are some key takeaways? Well, as I said, gaming is a business. It's a creative business. We love it. It's good making creative games, but it's still a business, and it needs to be treated like this. And business is like long-term strategic planning. the foundation of every long-term strategic planning is strategic data analysis. And what I showed you here, is this rocket science? I believe you all see that it is not. And I probably feel that a lot of you could do this even better, have their own ideas. Is it rocket science? It's not. So everybody could do it. Is it tedious? It is painfully tedious to build and maintain that database. Is it beneficial? Well, I firmly believe it is beneficial. And my last message here for you is more from the aspect of me being a data analyst, is that we as analysts sit on a gold mine of facts, of information. That's a great privilege. And the way we use it, we can use it, we have great potential to actually create values on each and every level of business, from the operative to tactical to strategic, and it's a big privilege, and I think we should all just take advantage of it. And that would be all. Any questions?
Do you have any results from the ASI? Did you create game based on the ASI, and was it successful?
Well, bear in mind that we make AA and AAA games, so production cycles are big. However, we piloted this on choosing our next game, and it was really helpful as a decision-making tool for our stakeholders. So yeah, this has been tested in practice.
So in 5 years you will...
So in 5 years I will present this.
Okay.
You'll see. If I present for the same company, it was good.
Do you plan to open source the data?
Well, I cannot open source the data because some of the data is purchased through MPD providers, but basically this is the concept, and I think it's easily copyable from here. So.
Thanks.
All clear then.
Okay. Nikola, I would like to thank you. We have one question. Here you go. Lara?
Oh, sorry. So did you make this tool for also other companies to use or not yet, or you're planning?
No, this is just for our own company.
So since you
Freshly invented this year.
copyrighted it.
Yeah, well, basically you can copyright that, but it's not a patent because you cannot patent information like this. So it's a copyright. This basically means we created it and nothing else.
Okay. Okay, cool.
You said you made it this year. Do you have any plans of like checking the accuracy of your predictions, since you are predicting the growth of the genres? So maybe the next presentation for the next year will be
maybe
the check of the accuracy. That would be fun to see.
Yeah, I'm also waiting for it. We'll see.
Do you have idea how actually you will get the results? You will see the growth for next year, but will it be a simple comparison since it's a complex?
Yeah, you can contact me. I'll see.
Okay.
Here you go.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. It's great. I have a very general question. What do you think of the state of the market now, globally?
State of the market.
Yeah, and this past crisis with layoffs and restructuring of the market.
I always get a tough question.
Yeah, I know it's very general. I know it's tough. What is your
from
your crystal ball? What?
Yeah. Well, the state of the market is this is something that happened across all industries, all of the IT. And what I think is that gaming market, as all other markets, fell into the trap of when things are good, just hire everyone, do everything, but they didn't strategically think about the future, like some companies do. And when it's good, they do not hire tens of thousands of guys, girls. And this is what happened here. It was just the buzz. Yeah, we're good, we're great, everything's growing, so let's just pour money into it. That is not good business. So strategic decision makers don't think like that. They know the bad times are gonna come, and in order to be sustainable, you need to keep sustainable growth. So if you grow your workforce for 30%, that's not sustainable growth.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
All right, guys.
That's it.